Hello, and welcome to my stream. My name is Ruben, and today I'll be talking to you about why it is important to change your keybinds in Deadlock, and as well as how to change your keybinds. Now, to give a little bit of context, we're going to be talking about Deadlock in general, just to see what the game is. There might be some new viewers who don't understand the game. So, Deadlock is based off of a MOBA-like game. If you've heard of games called League of Legends, Dota, Dota 2, this game takes a lot from those games specifically. So, it is running on a lane system. You have two teams of 6 that have to face against each other and win. That is the setup. That is what is required. And in this game, instead of being the top-down MOBAs, you are a third person. So your camera is connected to your character via just behind it, so it's a third-person setup, so your movement keys are a little bit different. So in Deadlock, you're moving with your WASD, whereas in a top-down MOBA, you're going to be going from top and down. So what I do, and what I have done for myself, is change the keybind. It's very important to make sure you can be as efficient with your movements and your casting of abilities in this game. So we're gonna pop over to the game here, and there we go. So this is Deadlock. You're gonna see in the bottom right of the screen, I'm gonna have an input area. So as you're going to see my WASD kind of light up there, my left click, my right click, my mouse scroll. Unfortunately, the mouse buttons on the left and on the left of the mouse, both for the top and the bottom, are not functioning. However, I will tell you that I am utilizing those buttons when we are rebinding our hotkeys. So to start, we're gonna jump in to just a training session here, just to show you. So I'm just gonna choose Dynamo here. We're gonna go to Hero Sandbox, and we are in game. So this is the game of Deadlock. This is what it looks like. This is me moving around. As you can see, my movement keys are highlighted. So first, I'm going to show you where the keybind menu is. So that here, when we press escape, we're going to be met with the overlay here and our menu. Now, unfortunately, with Deadlock, they kind of hide the settings down here in the bottom left. Not really apparent, so we're going to press on that. And we're going to navigate over here to keybinds at the top. So you have your run here, options all the ways down to keybinds. We're going to click that. So here you have the option to choose whether or not you want to change what your abilities or any kind of keybinds in the game. You can completely remap this if you wanted to. I don't suggest it, but there are some key buttons that I think are quite important to change out. Something to note here, if you are wanting to have specific binds for certain characters and heroes, you can do that in this game. I will not be going over that, but that is useful for some select people who might be a little bit more competitive at this game. So to start out, we're going to be looking at our keys here. We have our W, S, A, and D. These are our basic movement keys. It is typical for the QWERTY keyboard that we primarily utilize in gaming to use this. I will also show you another one that is important in this situation. We're looking at our reload button. That'll be important later on, and I'll tell you why. We're going to come down here to, if I can find it, here we are, our abilities. So by default, your 1 to 4 abilities are bound to your 1, 2, 3, and 4 key. Now, these keys are quite hard to hit, especially when you're in a high energy situation where there might be multiple enemies you're dealing with, and you have to keep your mobility up as long as you can. So what I have done is I rebound my ability 1 to my Q, my ability 2 to my E, my ability 3 to my R, and my ability 4 to my F key. And we're not done there, because we're going to have some complications. The R key is what was the reload key. So I've rebound the reload key to something that is far off to the right of my keyboard. I'm utilizing my mouse buttons in order to hit those keys instead. So on my mouse, this reload is connected to one of my buttons. I will also show, as melee has been rebound, that I had to rebind that once again to another key farther off to the right of my keyboard in order for this to function. Once again, that is connected to my mouse as a macro, so I can hit that pretty easily with my thumb. The last key that we're going to be looking at is the melee parry throw held item. Now, this has use in the game as people will try to melee you, and you have the chance to parry them and to stun them. So this key is still important. However, it's a bit of a stretch still, but it is on the T key, which is not too far. So that is everything that you really need to know when it comes to these keys specifically. You can choose different keys to have your reload on, or even your melee, as well as your block. You can choose different keys, but I do suggest you to utilize the Q, E, R, and F, because it will just make your whole entire experience a little bit more fluid when you're playing the game. So now I'm going to explain a little bit more on why. So here I'm in the game, I'm moving around, you can see my keystrokes are being pressed. I have my Q ability, my E ability, my R ability, and my F ability. These are all my 1 to 4s. I've rebounded, and it actually showcases that on screen. So when I'm moving around, I want to be able to hit that Q. I want to be able to hit that E, that R, as well as that F. These buttons end up being quite easy for me to utilize when I'm moving around, shooting at enemies, and trying to progress myself into the game. I can keep my mobility up, and I can also utilize my abilities pretty seamlessly. So when I press my mouse buttons on my mouse, you're going to see the N and the K key highlighted. So when I shoot and I'm running out of ammunition, I'm going to have to reload. So I hit my top key on the left side of my mouse, and that reloads my weapon. Pretty simple. I don't have to reach pretty far with that. It's just right on my thumb on my mouse. And vice versa. Well, not vice versa, but if I wanted to utilize a melee, I hit that other mouse button, which is bound to my, I think it's N or K. I cannot remember off the top of my head. And also, if I hold down, I do a heavy hit. So this is mainly why I think that this is very important. You want to make sure that you can still be very mobile and hit your keys pretty seamlessly as you're moving through the game. It'll help overall with your ability to be more just quicker to the punch, I want to say. Outbeat and outpace your enemy, and then that is already going to put you in a higher echelon and a higher level. This might help you be a little bit more competitive in the game, as you're going to be utilizing more movement and being less still when you're playing the game, which does most of the time equate to higher rates of play. But anyways, just to recap here, as we're going to just head over to our other scene here. So, what we've learned is that we have our keys, and they're in that menu. When you press your escape, you go to the settings, you go to the keybinds. Your main keys you're going to want to change over is your ability 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the Q, E, R, and F keys. And once that is done, you're also going to rebind that melee as well as that reload. And for safety, that parry on the T or some close key that you can hit would be beneficial. And I do believe that in the end, this is a very important thing to do to make yourself more competitive in the game, as well as not have to reach far and
cement yourself in the old ways of how MOBAs are doing it. Now, MOBAs would have it on the Q, W, E, and R keys, but in a similar fashion, they're 1 through 4. They're linear, and it's not representative of really good ergonomics as well as just ease of access keys when you're playing a game where you have to move around with your WASD. Hopefully this has been informational for you. You learned something today and you can apply it into your own gameplay. Please mess around with the keybinds, make some different choices. Whatever is comfortable for you is what is important. But I do want to give you a perspective and let you know that this is a possibility. You don't have to stay with the defaults. You can change your way that you play the game, and that is always a good thing. Anyways, thank you very much for stopping by my stream. Thank you for listening, taking a part of your day in order to learn something new. Hopefully you had a good time. Until the next time, I am out. Peace. That's wrong. That's very wrong. Here we go. See ya.